All right, how's it going, everyone? Gamma Fighter here, coming at you with another Sylvaneth video. And in this video, we're going to be taking a look at the Grove Guardian. We have a surprise video today. Was not expecting an announcement like this on Valentine's Day on a Saturday. But yeah, I think they wanted to put it out on Valentine's Day because they're doing this sort of perfume themed commercial as like a preview. And I guess perfume is associated with Valentine's Day. So I don't really know what they were thinking. My theory is that they had this video, it was supposed to go out on Friday, and it's just late. That's my guess. And they didn't want it to be after Valentine's Day because that would make it look even worse. So, but anyways, shout out to Mysidia Gaming, another fantastic Age of Sigmar content creator. Go ahead and check him out. I was talking to him in his Discord, and he said, "Are you going to be doing an announcement or no, a video on the announcement today?" And I said, "What announcement?" So I looked it up and I was like, holy crap, I have to do a video now. I was actually working on a different video. So look out for that video, but now I'm doing this one instead. So once again, just shout out to Mysidia Gaming. Let's get into it. I want to be respectful of your time, not take up too much time because I can talk forever about the Sylvaneth here. So let's get into it. Grove Guardian. I love the flavor of it. Guardian. I used to play Flesh and Blood, the card game, and Guardian was my favorite class, and I just sort of like that motif, being a defender. Actually, that's sort of the lore behind my Sylvaneth, personal Sylvaneth Wargrove, is they're guardians of the history and the old world history of the Sylvaneth and how they used to be the wood elves back in the old world. They come from that and stuff. So anyways, getting into it, they said that she's going to have 9 attacks, dealing D3 damage. That sounds a lot like a wizard, sort of like the War Song. If she is like the War Song, she'll be hitting on 3s and wounding on 3s with just 1 rend. And so that's not going to be very good damage. It's going to be a lot better than the War Song, but a little bit worse than the Lady of Vines. And the Lady of Vines is really considered more of a support piece. She's not a damage monster like the Spirit of Durthu. So that means the Grove Guardian is going to be similar, sort of like a support piece. Very importantly, they said that she's a priest at 2, 2 power level priest, which is very interesting because we don't have priests and we don't have prayers. So that means we're probably going to be getting a prayer lore, which is very exciting. She may have a prayer on her war scroll, but even then, that's just 1 prayer and she needs at least 1 more to cast because she's 2 power level. So very interesting. Could we be seeing some of our other units turning into priests as well? We could see like Alariel. As weird as that sounds, because she is the one doing the magic of the granting the prayer, maybe she could get bonuses to pray. I don't know. It's possible. She could be a wizard and a priest. That would be kind of cool. Probably not, but we could see like the branchwych or the war song revenant. That's something very cool about the aesthetic of the Sylvaneth, is that it's sort of mystical. It's not really well defined what they are, so it sort of borders that line between magic and prayers. And so you could definitely stylize the Warsong Revenant. He's playing a magical flute, so that could certainly be a prayer instead of, he's not holding like a magic staff that has like a gemstone on it that's shooting a bolt of lightning out of it. It's definitely like something inherent to the Sylvaneth is mystical, and that's where the magic comes from. Could be styled either as magic or as prayers, which is very cool. They also said that she will heal up to 3 wounds on nearby units. To me, that sounds like a separate War Scroll ability and not a prayer. Just in terms of prayers, that sounds sort of lackluster. That would probably be the enhanced version of the prayer, as it says that it's up to 3 on up to 2 units. So that's sort of like the maximum output. For a prayer, that would be pretty weak. It's possible maybe that's just how they balance things by giving us weak prayers, but I don't think that that's what they would do. I think that's a separate ability, but having some more healing could be pretty cool. Keeping stuff alive. We already have quite a bit of healing in the army, and as I theorized in probably my very first video, when 4th edition was just coming out, I think that they are sort of pushing us, the designers are pushing us into that healing, trying to be more durable and tanky and heal up type of archetype. And this seems to be pushing us more that direction. And if that's what direction you want to go, then she would help you to do that. But regardless, though, I think we probably will still need at least 1 more prayer if she's a power level 2 priest. So we probably do need a spell prayer lore. So I want to know what you guys think we should have as prayers if we do get a whole prayer lore with like 3 different prayers. There are quite a few iconic classic Sylvaneth abilities that are missing from this edition, and that would be a great way to introduce them. I thought about if they introduced a second spell lore, they'd have to include the Awakened Wildwood Tree Song spell in there just to be able to allow us to use our faction abilities. So I was like thinking we need more magic, but how do we do that without like a second spell lore? Like, do they just give us more spells? I don't know. And this would be a really good way to do it by just giving us prayers, which function differently. So you'd want a priest to be able to do this different kind of magic, whereas you would use your regular wizards to be able to cast the Awakened Wildwood spell as well as the other spells. So I think it's a really interesting solution to that sort of problem that I was recently thinking about. Then going into the model, I don't want to gush too much because I do come to Age of Sigmar from the hobby side. I just really appreciate the Sylvaneth models for the most part. So I am a big fan of this model. I did, I don't seek out the like rumor mills and the leaks that people talk about, but I did hear that we had a foot hero coming for Sylvaneth, and I was like not super excited about that. I was thinking the branchwych, this is way cooler. It's hard to tell exactly how big this is. We do have sort of a tree revenant here for scale, so I think it is quite a bit bigger than the branchwych, but I like that they have some things that are very familiar. You may know, if you're a longtime viewer, the Lady of Vines is my favorite model, probably of all time. And she is like a super dryad in terms of her looks. And they're kind of doing the same thing here. We've got this dryad looking thing coming out of a tree, which is very cool. And the other thing too, I really used to play Warcraft 3, and I loved the night elves. I almost said night haunt out of habit. I love the night elves, that their buildings were living trees that could uproot and they could walk around and they could punch things. And this is giving me those vibes, definitely. And that may be why I love Sylvaneth so much. So she has some really cool things going on. I do like this sort of ampule type of thing, this phylactery. I don't know what you call it. It reminds me of the Lamentary that's inside a drycha's leg. It's sort of that same shape, but this is sort of pouring like this liquid here, feeding the soul pod, if that's what this is. And so it's sort of showing us a little bit of the lore. And when you read the description here, it shows that there's sort of a lot of these Grove Guardians. She's not like a specific or unique thing. These guys are all over the wargroves and tending these soul pods all over the place wherever you find Sylvaneth. So that's cool to hear more about the lore. And the other thing too, the final thing I want to say is that this idea of the soul pods or the flower look is sort of a new thing for Sylvaneth that's you don't see in other places, but it is a very obvious thing and a very cool thing. And the artist did a really great job in painting these. So I love the flowers here. Got the tree revenant sort of being birthed, or maybe he's still cooking, almost ready to come out. So that's very cool. I'm very excited about this model, very much looking forward to this coming out. Next, they announced the Battle Tome. Not much news on this. They did say that it will be coming later this year, which could mean anything. As far as I know, in the pipeline, we have the OBR. We should have Fire Slayers and Ogres as well. And so maybe we could be seeing Sylvaneth after that if they're previewing it already. Although they could just be previewing it for the joke of the perfume commercial. So I wouldn't necessarily get my hopes up too much right now. The other thing is it could even come sooner because I think they did do some things out of order. It's like the Tzeentch or the Nurgle are not in the order that they did that big rumor engine with the 4 factions. One of those was not included, so that's a little bit out of order, and so maybe they could continue to do it out of order. Maybe we'll be after them. We'll see. Very excitingly, they did announce these battle forces, and this makes me think that it's going to be sooner rather than later. They announced 3 different box sets. One is a Battleforce, which is very cool. I had to laugh when I saw this. The Madmen, they actually did it. They put 3 treelords into a Battleforce, which is crazy. I mean, I love it, but you have to admit it is actually a crazy thing to do. Very cool, though. It also comes with 2 boxes of Kurnoth Hunters. So honestly, with a caveat, I will say that this is a very cool way to start a Sylvaneth army. The caveat being that if you're trying to build a meta list and you're going to just be doing that, you're going to be building like the most competitive lists, and that's kind of the way that you want to play them. This doesn't make sense. There's almost never, there's a low chance Okay, it has happened. It definitely happened in 3rd edition where the meta was Monster Mash with treelords stomping around. But it's not a safe bet, is what I'm saying. If you are playing the faction that is just a bunch of trees that stomp around, you probably do like the trees anyways. You probably have a little bit of Timmy in you, and at least every once in a while, you're going to want to play, even if it's just a casual game, you're going to want to throw a bunch of tree lords and have them stomp and teleport around and cut things down with a sword. And so it's probably a pretty safe bet. I will say, trust your gut. If you're thinking about this Battleforce, if you're on the fence and you're like, I don't know if I want to paint 3 tree lords, I don't know if I want to spend money to buy 3 tree lords if I'm not going to be using them in competitive games, you should probably hold off. But if you look at this and you laugh like I did and you go like, that's the most amazing thing I've ever seen, then you should probably get it. That's my advice there. But once again, not financial advice. Contact your financial advisor before you make any investment decisions. But this is very cool. The Kurnoth hunters are always going to be a safe bet. That's the other thing. If the Battle Tome comes out soon, when these are released, these boxes are released, the rules are totally going to change. Possibly. We saw that recently. Lumineth and Tzeentch had some pretty big changes. So we could be seeing some big changes for Sylvaneth as well. I would anticipate big changes. So you probably shouldn't go based on just the rules as they are now. But generally speaking, the Kurnoth hunters are going to be a safe bet no matter what edition you're in, no matter what GHB. Kurnoth hunters are very strong always. And then the tree lords usually are a pretty safe bet as well. The question is just whether you need 3 of them in a single army. It's probably not always going to be the case. That's going to be a more niche pick. But again, if you're buying this, it's because you like having 3 tree lords. So, but in terms of viability, the tree lords are generally a safe bet. Moving on, we do have the new Spearhead, Spitewing Flight. I was not expecting this. I was theory crafting that you could do, in theory, you could do a Spearhead with 1 box of Bug Riders, and it would be hard to do because they're so big and they're so fast. It would be really hard to balance it. But the Madmen, they went and did it again. They did a Spearhead with 2 boxes of Bug Riders, which is crazy. I don't think you could even fit them all on the battlefield at the same time because they just take up so much space, especially with the Gossamed Archers, which also have these big wings, and the Arch Revenant. Like, everything has wings in here. It's crazy. I can't believe they did it. I love them for it. I may have to pick up this box. I have 6 Bug Riders, but part of me always wants to run double cav list and have 2 reinforced units. So this would let me do that. I also could use some Gossamed Archers. And of course, the Arch Revenant is a beautiful model. The Bug Riders are a much less safe pick than something like Kurnoth Hunters. And if you're thinking about viability, they have been out of favor for a lot of 4th edition. With the current General's Handbook, the Revenant Seekers got a glow up with some special rules, and those have been really good lately. So yeah, it is a little bit of a gamble, but if you like the models, if you love painting them, collecting them, these are really cool models, and so you'll be happy to have them in your collection. If you're thinking about competitive viability, these are a little bit more of a gamble. You can always wait to see the rules when the new Battle Tome drops. In terms of the Gossamed Archers, they're sort of the same thing, a little bit of a gamble. The rules that they have had historically is a shoot and scoot kind of a rule, as very fast archers that do some support fire, but their main function is being like an objective monkey. So that is usually pretty good in the game. Currently, we are just kind of cramming a bunch of very powerful stuff into our lists, and we had to make some cuts, and some of those cuts are going to stuff that's more utility, like an objective monkey. Their harassing fire, like the shooting that they have, is just not powerful enough to make a really big impact in the game. And so they haven't been able to stick around for that. They've mostly been relying on their utility. So this is also more of a gamble. And then the Arch Revenant has been quite a bit out of favor during this edition. I think she's probably worth taking a look at for the +1 to wound. But again, the rules are going to be changing when the new Battle Tomes come out. So if you're concerned about competitive viability, wait for that. I think the Arch Revenant, though, is the most out of all of these, where you just look at it and you go like, this is a beautiful model. There's so much awesome going on. She's like the coolest tree Revenant that ever lived. And she's got this awesome bug on her that gives her wings. She's a joy to paint. She looks beautiful on your display shelf. So you will not regret picking this up, even if you just keep her on the shelf. She's very cool. So the cool thing, though, about this is that this is not going to be a limited time like the Battleforce will be. This is going to be a Spearhead. It should be available for a long time and readily available. So if you're on the fence about this, you can wait until the Battle Tome comes out, wait until you see the new rules. And if you've got a lot that you're working on painting still, don't feel like you have to rush and pick this up as soon as they announce it. And then finally, coming to the Regiment of Renown, we have the twist wield with the branchwych. So the Regiment of Renown are aimed at the other factions. So they're meant to go into other armies that they're not typically a part of. So as this box is sort of being marketed more towards them, but it does come down to a simple thing. There are 2 units in this box. If you do not have them, but you want them, then this is the best way to get them. You get a little bit of a discount. Previously, the branchwych was only available in the Spearhead, but she also was available in the Hachette magazine, which is a Warhammer like official thing where they have these magazines that also have models with them. So you can currently pick her up for about, in the US, about like $13 or $14 with about $10 shipping. So around $25. If you bundle her with some other magazines, you can get that shipping cost per magazine down to be a little bit cheaper. So her overall cost would be a little bit cheaper. So that's probably a better way if you just want to pick her up. But if you've been looking for an excuse to pick up the twist wield, this would be a good excuse to get them. The current rules right now, they don't really have a good place. They are sort of like, they're efficient for their damage and their durability for their cost, but their cost is very low. So their overall impact of the unit is not very strong. So they are sort of in limbo right now. So right now is not, it doesn't look like this is something that is urgent to pick up, but once again, the rules could definitely change going forward. And I think if you're going to be making that decision, it would be more based on the aesthetics. Do you like the look of this thing? Do you want them on your shelf? It's sort of a mix of spite revenants and tree revenants and dryads in there, which could be pretty cool. If you want both of these models, this is sort of a no-brainer to pick up. And if you only want one or you don't want either of them, then it's sort of a no-brainer to not pick it up. So this is very cool. There's a lot of cool, exciting Sylvaneth stuff coming up. I'm definitely most excited about the Grove Guardian, but that Spearhead is also going to be a valuable addition to my collection and allow me to run a double cav army, which is very cool. Also excited about Gossamet archers, but I think I will definitely have to pick up the Grove Guardian. I am trying to, hold back on picking up any additional models going forward. I still have a lot of stuff to work on and some like mostly touch up things to finish on the units that I do have. And so I've been trying to like hold off on buying until I finish all that stuff. But whenever this does get released and announced, I may just have to pick it up no matter what because it's very cool. And yeah, looking forward to it. I'm super excited. Of course, I have a YouTube channel dedicated to Sylvaneth, so of course I'm excited about the Sylvaneth announcements, but I want to hear what you guys think. Definitely about the priest side of things, definitely about the Grove Guardian as a model. Let me know what you think. That's it for me. That's it for the article. Until next time, I'm going to make like a tree and get out of here.